did you finish reading the history of education?
Yes, I'm already done. Can I hear your ideas or thoughts?
Yes, sure.
Let's go.
Based on what you have read, what is your understanding about the education in pre-literate societies?
So before the invention of reading and writing, pre-literate people developed skills that grew into cultural and educational patterns. Therefore, the earliest educational process involved sharing information about gathering food and providing shelter, making weapons and other tools.
Okay.
Very well said.
Based on what I have researched, education in ancient Africa and Asia, priests and temple schools taught not only religion, but also the principles of writing, science, mathematics, and architectures.
I have researched too. Education in ancient Greece, historians have looked to ancient Greece as one of origins of Western and formal educations. Legendary Greek warriors depicted Homer's work, such as Agamemnon. Ancient Greece was divided into a small and often competing city-states, or policies such as Athens, Sparta, and Thebes. Athens emphasized an human and democratic society and education, but only about the one-third of people in Athens were free citizens.
Wow! How about you, Lizelle? What is your own understanding about the education in the ancient Rome?
Based on what I have understand in education in ancient Rome, while the Greeks were developing their civilization in the area surrounding the eastern Mediterranean Sea, the Romans were gaining control of the Italian peninsula and areas of western Mediterranean. So the Greek education focused on the study of philosophy, while on the other hand, the Rome were preoccupied with war, conquest, politics, and civil administration. Only a minority of Romans attended school for those who had the money to pay tuition and the time to attend classes. That's it.
What a nice idea!
How about the ancient Jewish education? Have you read it, Christine?
Yes.
For me, ancient Jewish education had a great respect for a printed word and believed that God revealed truth to them in the Bible. Wow, that's a great idea, Christine. Okay, how about the medieval education, Chora?
Medieval education. During the Middle Age or medieval period, which tested roughly from the 5th to 15th century, Western society and education were heavily shaped by Christianity, particularly the Roman Catholic Church. In the 11th century, medieval scholars developed scholasticism, a philosophical and educational movement that used both human reason and revelation from the Bible.
The education during the Renaissance, or the called modernity, scholars became more interested in humanist features, and that is the secular or worldly rather than the religious aspects. The Renaissance was a particularly powerful force in Italy, most notable in art, literature, and architecture. Also, one of the particularly influential Dutch humanist Desiderius Erasmus believed that understanding and conversing about the meaning of literature was more important than memorizing it. So he advised teachers to study such fields as archaeology, astronomy, mythology, history, and scripture. In education during the Protestant Reformation, they established vernacular primary schools that offered basic curriculum of reading, writing, and arithmetic and division of children in their own language. Vernacular schools in England, for example, used English to teach their pupils, as they argued with each other and with the Roman Catholics on religious matters, Protestant educators wrote catechism, primary books that summarize the religious doctrine in a question and answer format.
I have also researched about educational theory in the 17th century. Educators of the 17th century developed new things of thinking about education. A bishop of Moravian Church, Comenius, escaped religious persecution by taking refuge in Poland, Hungary, Sweden, and the Netherlands. He created an educational philosophy called Pansophism, or universal knowledge designed to bring about worldwide understanding and peace. And about the education during the Enlightenment, also called the Age of Reason, educators believe people could improve their lives and society by using their reason, their powers of critical thinking.
To continue, education in 19th century developed an educational method based on natural world and senses. In kindergarten, German educator Friedrich Frobel created the earliest kindergarten, a form of preschool education that literally means child's garden in German. In 1837, Frobel opened a kindergarten in Blankenburg with curriculum that features songs, stories, games, and gift occupations. Some immigrants from Germany brought the kindergarten concept to the United States, where it became part of the American school system. In social Darwinism, British sociologist Herbert Spencer strongly influenced education in the mid-19th century with the social theories based on the theory of evolution developed by British naturalist Charles Darwin. Spencer revised Darwin's biology theory into social Darwinism. Spencer maintained that modern industrialized societies, as in early simpler societies, the fittest individuals of each generation survived because they were intelligent and adaptable. Okay, it was very interesting topic, and as we go deeper about the history of education, it was very broad. As what we have shared, we can really see each difference of how education started.
And by the help of the philosophers and our ancestors, education started to educate young people like our generation today. By the help of the expanding technology, our education today was upgraded and evolved by giving students the skills they need to succeed in this new world and helping them to grow confidence to practice those skills. Thank you for giving all your ideas.
No, thank you.
Good job. You have a better introduction.
Let's go.
Hi everyone, my name is Christian R. Alfavera and I am here to talk to you about the historical legal foundations of our education. First, we have what is law. We have two definitions, the definitions and nature, and the letter B is the typologies. Second is the structures of the Philippine educational jurisprudence. Third is the legal underpinning of the history of education. So come with me and let us know what is law all about.
Law is a subject matter of jurisprudence. It is any rule of actions requires any form of standard or pattern of which actions are to be confirmed. This is a general rule of external human actions enforced by sovereign political authority.
There are some people who say that what is law is all about. It is a personal conduct certified by institution called courts. Second, it is a rule of established by the authority of the society of custom based on a reason quoted. Law is nothing but reason, and all that what is not a reason is not a law. And that's all. Let's go to another topic.
The main sources of Philippine law are first, the Constitution, the fundamental and supreme law of the land, and second, statutes, including acts of Congress, municipal charters, municipal legislation, court rules, and administrative rules and orders, legislative rules, and presidential issuances. Third is the treaties and conventions. These have the same force of authority as statutes. Fourth, judicial decisions. Article 8 of Civil Code of provides that judicial decision applying to or interpreting the laws or the Constitution shall form a part of the legal system of the Philippines. Only decision of its Supreme Court establish jurisprudence and are binding on all other courts.
And now, let's talk about the 8 types of law. Let's go!
Number 1. Criminal law. Concern itself with finding and punishing people who have broken the law by committing crimes. Second, corporate law. It is the system of criminal justice that makes sure business adhere to local and federal regulation for conducting business legally. Third, international law governs the interaction between different countries. These laws are designed to promote trade and to keep all the citizens safe. Fourth, commercial law, sometimes called trade law or business law, deals with commerce, trade, and consumer transactions.
Fifth is family law, handles cases related to family relationships such as divorce and child custody, adoption, and termination of parental rights. Sixth is constitutional law, includes any legal proceedings related to upholding and interpreting the Philippines Constitution. Court cases might surround issues like due process, civil rights, and freedom of speech. 7 is labor law, oversees the relationship between employers and employees. 8 is intellectual property law, refers to intangible, creative works or inventions that are protected by copyrights, trademark, and patents.
And now, we're moving on to the sources of the Philippine educational jurisprudence. So let's tackle about Constitution. Let's go! And now, we are moving to Philippine Constitution of 1987. Article 14, Education, Science and Technology, Arts, Culture, and Sports. Section 1. The quality of education accessible to all. Free public education in the elementary and high school levels. Study of the Constitution. Section 3. Control and administration of school by Filipino. Section 4. Local planning in the development of educational policies and program. Section 5. The national language of the Philippines is the Filipino. Section 6. Filipino national culture based on unity in diversity. Section 14. Support and research and studies on the arts and culture. Section 18. Promote physical education. Section 19.
Statute. Batas ng Bansa 232, otherwise known as the Education Act of 1982, was signed into the law by President Ferdinand E. Marcos. Section 10, 11, and 16 of this law are helpful in understanding the rights and duties of teachers. In Section 10, rights of all school personnel, in addition to other rights provided for the law, all school personnel shall enjoy the following rights. First, the right to free expression of opinion and suggestion, and to the effective channels of communication with appropriate academic and administrative bodies of all the school institutions. Section 11, special rights and privilege of teaching or academic staff. Further to the rights mentioned in the preceding section, every member of the teaching or academic staff shall enjoy the following rights and privileges. The right to intellectual property consistent with applicable laws. Section 16. Teachers' obligations. Every teacher shall perform his duties to the school by discharging his responsibilities in accordance with the philosophy, goals, and objectives of the school.
Case law at jurisprudence. Garcia versus Loyola School of Theology, Academic Freedom. EMA Computer College et al. Versus Rolando Austria. Alma Concepcion's case, dress code. Regulatory laws, Republic Act 7863, otherwise known as the Philippine Professionalization Act of 1994. Signed on December 16, 1994. In order to ensure a responsible and literate citizenry, this law was enacted to regulate the examination and professionalization of the teaching profession. Teachers refers to all persons engaged in teaching at the elementary and secondary levels. Board refers to the board for professional teachers duly established and constituted under this act. Commission refers to the Professional Regulation Commission.
Article 2. Board of Professional Teachers. The creation and composition, duties and functions, qualifications and conditions for removal of the board are also stated in this act. Two of the most important duties of the board are: number 1, prescribing the code of ethics and professional standard for teachers. Number 2 is look into a state condition which affect the teachers and the teaching professions so that when necessary, they will able to enhance and create higher professional standard for teachers.
Article 4. Provision related to the practice of teaching professions. This article will tell us about the inhibition against the practice of teaching professions as well as the penal provision. Penal provision: if a person is practicing as a professional teacher without a valid certificate or registration or a valid license, he may be fined with less than 5 to 20,000 pesos.
Code of Ethics. The Code of Ethics for Professional Teachers. In 1997, the Board of Professional Teachers adopted the Code of Ethics for Professional Teachers in the Philippines. This is to implement certain provision of RA number 7836, otherwise known as Philippine Teachers Professionalization Act of 1994, and Paragraph A, Section 6, PD number 223. As amended, this Code of Ethics for Professional Teachers is essential in mentoring new teachers and ensuring that all teachers should practice their profession with utmost dedication and professionalization.
And now, let's move on to legal underpinning of Philippine education. Let's go! There are many people says that Filipinos by nature values have deep regard for the education. Education occupies a central place in the Philippine political, economic, and social, cultural life. It has always been actively viewed as a pillar of national development and primarily avenue for social economic mobility.
Educational structure. On February 27, 1945, the Department of Instruction was made part of the Department of Public Instruction. In 1947, by virtue of Execution Order Number 94, the Department of Instruction was changed to Department of Education. In 1972, it became the Department of Education Culture by virtue of Proclamation of 10/10/81. The Congressional Commission on Education, or EDCOM, report provided for Congress to pass Republic Act 7722 and Republic Act 7796 to create CHED and TESDA respectively.
Educational policies. Child-Friendly School System CFSS is a project of United Nations Children Fund, UNICEF, and DepEd. Need of child-friendly schools. Desired outcome for children as follows. Every Child Reader Program ECARP to develop pupils' reading and communication skills by grade 3. The topics in the modules reading readiness, beginning of reading, developmental of reading, reading remediation, assessment, selective development, appropriate materials. Brigada Eskwela began in May 2003, encouraged parents, barangay residents, local businessmen, community, and etc. to volunteer resources, financial materials, and labor, and work collectively for maintenance and minor repair in school during the month of May to prepare schools for operating the classes in June. Adopt a School, Republic Act in 85-25 for the Adopt a Child School Act engagement in 1988 for the very purposes of providing a venue for a strong and dynamic private sector participate in nation building through investments in education of Filipino children. Alternative Learning System or ALS, a free educational program implemented by DepEd. A ladderized, modular, and non-formal education program by the DepEd of Department of Education. Benefit to those who cannot afford formal schooling and follows whatever is their available schedule.
Curriculum and Instruction, the National Elementary School Curriculum, 1983 and 2002. In a series of consultation, seminars, and workshops, the curriculum expert identified the different content, skills, and values that needed to be learned by our elementary students. They call these competencies. The new secondary education curriculum, 1991 to 2002. Bureau of Secondary Education, BSA, implemented the NSEC in the school. The NSEC include the following learner areas to be taught of 400 minutes daily from first year to fourth year.
Revised Basic Education Curriculum RBEC 2002-2010. The objectives of elementary and secondary education serve as that official learning goals of basic education as state for a particular population of learners, that is, the elementary and secondary education learners. BEC 2002, RBEC 2002, the objectives of secondary education are threefold. Continue the general education started in elementary, prepare the learners for college, prepare the learners for the world of work.
The legal dimensions of education. Article 14. Education, science and technology, culture, arts and sports in education. Section 1. The state shall protect and promote the right of all citizens to quality education at all levels, and shall take appropriate steps to make such education accessible to all. Section 2. The shall. Educational Decree of 1863, RA 9155, Governance of Basic Education Act of 2001, RA 10157, Integrated Kindergarten Education Act of 2012 at January 20, RA 10533, Enhanced Basic Education or K-12 Act of 2013, May 15. The RA 6655 Free Public Secondary Education Act of 1988, May 26. Establish and maintain system of scholarship grants, students, loan programs, subsides, and other incentives which shall be available to deserving students in both public and private schools, especially to the underprivileged. Governance assistance to students in teacher private education or RA 8545. Senior High School Voucher Program or DepEd Order Number 11, Series of 2015, RA 10931 or Universal Access to Quality Tertiary Education Act. Non-educational specific laws, regulations, programs that have impact to teachers. First is the RA 11036 or the Mental Health Act of 2018. Changes in the teacher education curricula. First is the CMO 74, Bachelor of Elementary Education or BEE Ed. CMO 75, Bachelor of Secondary Education, BSE Ed. CMO number 76, Bachelor of Early Childhood Education, replacing the old preschool educational program. CMO 77 or Bachelor of Special Needs Education, BSNED, replacing the old Special Education program. CMO number 78, the Bachelor of Technology and Livelihood Education or BTLE Ed, replacing the old PLE as specification of BSEd. CMO number 79 or the Bachelor of Technical Vocational Teacher or BTV TED for Teacher VocTech Track Teachers. CMO number 80 or the Bachelor of Physical Education or the BPED. So that's all. Thank you.
Go.
And that would be all the topic of historical foundations of education.
History of education,
Sources of Philippines educational jurisprudence.
legal and independent Philippine education.
And I hope you learn a lot from our topic. And that would be all. Thank you.